Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. I see the mic. It says it's on. My Bulbasaur shirt. Look how cute my little pumpkin Bulbasaur is. Isn't he cute, everybody? So hey, here is my J Farm, John Farmer, store manager, Atlantis Games and Comics, Portsmouth. Cool guy, friendly neighborhood giant. This is my video on what I think are probably my favorite horror things in like the nerddom or just in the various genres. Video games. It's my favorite thing to do. It's my number one pastime. I know that makes me not anywhere near as cool of a nerd as some of you other guys, but it's okay. We accept all nerddoms. But for video games, I'm gonna go off with my probably more enjoyable horror game. The scariest video game I've ever played is the PT demo, but don't worry, Megan, I'm gonna let you talk about it. Okay, I'm gonna let you do that. However, it's probably got to be in the Resident Evil series, but I like the Resident Evil game experience because of the lore, the story. Like, it really gets you involved in what's going on, and you get invested in the characters and you get invested in the story. But it's also set in like this. At least for the beginning Resident Evil games, this like the start to like this, horror setting involving the Umbrella Corporation, starting with the mansion, then following suit into Raccoon City, and my favorite of them is Resident Evil 3. Jill Valentine is by far my favorite Resident Evil main character. I love her. She is the epitome of just awesome female protagonists. I just love her. It's a great game. But probably the thing that was the thing I found the most enjoyable about that game is they had a little bit more exploration feel in that one, and then the semi-randomization of items. So it made the playthrough feel a little more unique. But again, I love Resident Evil because I like the story. So.
Probably my favorite actual horror game, which honestly a video game. It's Darkest Dungeon, which has a really striking character design, art style. It's very high contrasting colors. For some reason, they don't actually show eyes. Like none of the character design for any of the player characters for this. It's like a side-scrolling RPG. None of them illustrate the eyes. It's just they're always shadowed, so it's one of the parts of the art style that is kind of odd but noticeable. It's probably the best way to put it. Basically what it's about is exploring the dungeons of a manor that someone long ago dug, I guess, too greedily and too deep, to borrow a phrase. But it has to do with what are the long-term psychological and physical effects of adventuring through horrible eldritch horror, which is you go insane, and sometimes you have physical disabilities from injuries, or your decisions are impactful, but ultimately there's no perfect way to go through the game. You're going to have to sacrifice people, resources, that kind of thing. And it's just kind of a unique take on an RPG in that way. Very few of them actually have the willingness to kill off the main character. You have that certain amount of plot armor. If the main character dies, you just lose. In this one, everyone's expendable to a degree, and you experience major setbacks by having them die or having them develop certain psychosis or what have you. But it's definitely an interesting one. I definitely recommend it. I think the narration and the art style are really probably its best selling points, though. And that's pretty much it. Hopefully that's usable.
So as far as video games, it was actually really tough because I'm a huge horror video game buff. It's honestly my favorite genre of anything, but especially video games. I love Resident Evil, Fatal Frame. I can't say that I'm super into Silent Hill. I know but actually that's okay, because my absolute favorite, and honestly in my opinion the best horror gaming experience that exists, doesn't really exist anymore, sorry, but that would have to be PT. If you're not familiar with what PT is, it is playable teaser for a never released Silent Hill game that Hideo Kojima was going to produce and write and all that stuff with Konami's permission. Now, he did not have Konami's permission to make this playable teaser, and he got in trouble for it. This was kind of when they were already in the midst of like their contract ending and it going very sour, and this was kind of like a big screw you to Konami. I'm gonna put this thing out there. It's gonna be the best thing ever. People are gonna want it, and you're gonna deny them it and look really bad. And they did. But essentially, yes, it was a playable teaser for a Silent Hill game, which is brilliant. It breaks the fourth wall constantly, which is something that like Kojima's always done in Metal Gear, but makes so much sense in a horror setting. Like, there's so many times where that game felt like it was speaking directly to me.
Don't touch that dial now, we're just getting started.
And scaring the crap out of me.
204863.
Super cool, and it was put out as nothing. It was just PT, and that was it. And the internet had to crack the code of what it was to actually know where the game was going. It took a week of it being released and the internet working together to figure out the puzzle. So it was almost like this augmented reality game as well, where everyone was kind of communicating, trying to figure out what the heck this thing is. It seemed almost like a cursed object. And now, the fact that you can't get it anymore, it basically is. I'm really sorry to recommend something that you can't play. That sucks. If you've already got it, obviously you've probably already played it. Play it again because it's great, and they're still finding new things all the time. Like, there's new videos uploaded all the time to YouTube that are just talking about the new weird thing that they found recently in PT. It's so good. Please go play it, or go watch somebody play it on YouTube, or borrow someone's PlayStation that has it. You need to experience it. I think it's amazing. Yeah.
Hi everybody, it's Steve with my video game horror pick. You had to think real hard about this because there's so many terrifying video games out there, but the most terrifying game of all is definitely Galaga. Because I mean, everything's dark, you're in the middle of space, you're trying to hold off this horde of invading aliens. It's just terrifying. Who wants to think about that? That's just awful. The look of the game, you know, that bad guys are all like purples and blues and just real ominous colors. Even beyond just defending, you have your one ship trying to defend the entire, I'm just going to assume the entire galaxy from this invading alien armada that just never stops. It just gets worse and worse and worse. And then beyond just getting blown up by these aliens and, you know, realizing that everyone on your home planet is going to be killed, you also have to take the chance that you might actually get kidnapped by the aliens. Getting killed by aliens is pretty bad, but getting kidnapped by aliens, like, you don't know what's going to happen. They're playing an experiment on you. That is pure terror right there. I would argue that anybody else that says a game that's not Galaga, they're probably wrong. Like, they obviously haven't played Galaga. It's just, you know, that game is just, it's nightmare inducing. That's basically, you know, 8-bit nightmare fuel. So that's my video game horror pick. Thanks, guys.